Okay, it's live.
Hi,
It's supposed to
guys.
be like
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are. I hope you're all staying safe. I see the COVID numbers going up again. I hope you're all staying indoors. I really want to thank you for taking time out on a Saturday to come and talk about an interesting topic that I have spent most of my life working in, identity. And to make it even more interesting, now we're talking about the blockchain over identity. So I want to thank Miguel and the team at Blockqode for putting this together. Uh, uh, it's it's uh, it's rare to have these kind of events where people actually sitting and talking about identity, and I would really like to see more of these. So today we're going to talk about one of our flagship products, which is Hypersign. Vishwas, can you go to the next slide, please? Next. Before we get into what we're doing, a little bit about our company. We set up our company in 2017, and the whole vision was to bring back the power that we have given to all these corporations around us who hold our personal data, and basically do whatever they want with it, and not even give us a say in how that data is managed, right? So even though the data is ours, it's personal, it belongs to us. It's important to understand that how and where this data is being used, and that is basically why we wanted to build this company. Next. A little bit about the founding team. There's three of us. We have Vishwas, who is basically our head of research and development. Vishwas has been working with blockchains for the last 5 years. He's also worked on uh, probably one of the biggest blockchain projects in the world, where they migrated the Indian payment network backbone over to the blockchain, and he was one of the core designers of that migration project. There's Vikram. He's been in this space as well for 5 years, but has spent 8 or 9 years in the payment and the energy space. Myself, I've spent about 10 years in identity and security, and here I'm here to talk to you today about something that is so fundamentally inherent to our daily life, and we probably don't even understand how crucial it is. Next. Everything requires identity. From the time you log into your computer in the morning, you use your identity to log in. Whether you're catching a flight, going to the airport, you need identity to enter the airport. Whether you're buying a car, a house, renting, anything and everything, you require some form of identity. Next. This identity has some seriously old roots. Philosophers, thinkers of all ages have been dealing with this question of who am I? And next, please. And when you think about this question, who am I? How do you answer this kind of question, right? Whether it was Socrates, whether it was Plato, whether it was Descartes, they all thought about this question. How do you answer it? And if the more you think about this, the next question that would probably come about is, how do you go about proving to someone else that you are who you are saying you are, right? So that is fundamentally what identity is. Trying to prove to either yourself or to someone else, I mean, to your government, to a machine, that you are who you are saying you are, right? And in order to do this, humans have become extremely creative over the last millennia to be able to prove something like this. The first signs of identity were actually found in archaeological sites in certain parts of the world. They were little pieces of stone, as you can see on the slides, and they had little insignias and logos on it engraved that probably dated back 100, 200,000 years for people to prove that they belonged to a certain space, to identify themselves that they belong to a certain time, that they belong to a certain tribe, that they come from a certain space. Moving forward a few thousand years, the people wanted to express themselves, to be understood, to be identified with who they are and what they serve, right? So tattoos became, and tattoos are prevalent till today in so many parts of the world, Asia and Americas, that tattoos basically prove that you belong to a certain tribe, you belong to a certain space, you belong to a certain age group, you've done something in your life that you have passed certain rights. So even today, I mean, it's more of a fashion statement nowadays, but it's still inherent that what tattoos are being used for to communicate a message or identification. Moving forward a few hundred years, coming to Rome, they're probably one of the first civilizations to understand the concept of verification, identification, when they started issuing documents such as title deeds and land ownership rights and even birth certificates. And they were the first civilization to be able to prove that these certain documents held by certain individuals actually proved that they were the actual owners. King Henry V was probably the first to introduce a passport back in the 1400s, where he wanted to enable his people who were traveling outside the kingdom to represent the kingdom and for them to be able to prove to others that they were actually from the kingdom. Another prevalent technology, which is called a pin, which is in use till today, was identified by then Prime Minister Robert Peel in 1829, when he started introducing the PIN. And this personal identification number is used till today in everything that we do, whether it's unlocking your phone or whether it's even entering your SMS to access your bank, SMS, OTP, and so on. Next, the most prominent milestone was probably Sir William Herschel, who introduced the use of fingerprints, who identified the concept that all fingerprints are unique, and started using them as a form of authentication or even a form of verification. All these milestones basically serve to prove that identity being a fundamental human right, to be able to prove to people around you, to yourself, to everyone, that who you are, saying who you are, is basically what is required. Now, all the milestones that have happened so far have basically brought us where we are today, right? I mean, with all the biometrics and artificial intelligence and all the technologies that are basically used to capture forms of your identity and then share it. So it basically becomes digital data. And this is where the problem starts. The technology today being how it's mishandling our personal information is where the core of the problem lies. This is where you end up with problems such as ransomware, identity theft. Can you change the slide, please? Yeah, you have these kind of problems, just data breaches, ransomware, impersonation, identity theft. And it just turns out that it turns out that everyone in the world has control over your data except you, right? I mean, how do we stop this? How do we take control back? And this is fundamentally where the blockchain comes in. It serves as a promise or a potential that we can take back control over our personal data based on what the blockchain, how it's structured and how it's promised, right? So I'm going to hand over to my colleagues now to basically take forward the discussion and talk about what the Hypersign project is, how it's evolving, and how you can get involved in helping us build this project. Over to you, Vishwas. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Irfan. So what Irfan did so far is basically take you to the journey of identity, right? But he was mostly into the world, physical world, where how you identify yourself. But when internet came, right? We got to introduce about a digital world, right? We started using apps and we started presenting ourselves digitally, and that's where problem started. I remember there was some cartoonist who had this cartoon saying that on internet, a dog, like a, what was that term? I think it was a dog cannot prove himself as a dog. Like, I mean, even if he's a cat, he cannot prove that he's a cat. It's very difficult to do. Whereas in the physical world, it is very easy to do because you are seeing this person face to face. So at least you can identify. So, for example, the tattoo thing, right? at least you can see that the tattoo is being, uh, is there with this particular person. So physical world, it was still easy to identify someone, whereas coming to the digital world, it became harder and harder, right? So yeah, so the one way to, identify yourself in the internet was using passwords. And I must say, I must start the problem with saying that passwords are problem. I mean, usually what we do to state a problem is basically give the scenario that, hey, these are the areas where we were working, and this is how we reached to the problem. But I think this is a high time to talk about directly about the password being a problem. So passwords are the problem. We all know that. And then there are various flavors of it, right? You have weak password, you have default password, password reuse, sharing, resetting, and whatnot. And of course, it's not like people have not tried to solve this problem, but yeah, but still we are like, if you look at the data and all, right, more than 80% of the breaches are happening because of password. So uh, and when we, talk about the password problem, we can talk about in basically two categories, right? For an enterprise and what is for an consumer, right? So let's talk about the password problem for each of these categories and see what happens. So here I have projected a report from by Enterprise Management Association, which says that really, 24% of the data breaches are happened because of the compromised password, right? And then 16% of these data breaches have happened because of shared credentials, because password gives you ability to share, right? And then approx 12% happened because of the access privilege abuse, and so on, right? And in fact, coming to the cost, right? So the cost, there is a high cost involved with the password, because you need to set up an IT team, you need to invest to train your employees, you need to have an infrastructure to for password resettings and all that. And imagine, like, your employee forgot a password, right? What he has to do is he has to again go back to the IT team and initiate a process of the password resetting. Till then this thing is happening, till then he's just sitting idle, he's not doing any work, because he do not have access to any of the systems. Normally within the enterprise they use this as a SSO, right? Single sign on, which means if he lost one password, he will not be able to access any of the system. So so that leads to the what leads to a loss of So with all this, what we can actually conclude that passwords are the weakest link of identity management, right? Coming to the end user's perspective, they are too complex. It's hard to remember, and then they are too many. Like I said, when the internet started, people started building apps, and each and every apps needs to have authentications. And as a user, if I am using 4 5 apps, I need to remember all these 4 5 credentials, or pair of credentials rather. uh, I remember like my father, and that's how I started this project. My father sent me Facebook request for the seventh time 2 years back, and we were shocked. Like, I asked him, why are you sending so many Facebook requests? And he said, uh, like, he keeps on forgetting password. And then I asked him, of course, why don't you reset? And he does not even know how to reset, right? And he said, nowadays, like, everything is on the mobile phone. He has a bank account, online bank account, he has ATM pin, he has all these social apps. So all these passwords are really hard to remember for him, right? And then we introduce too many complexity in the password, like you have to have alphanumeric, you have to have complex kind of password, otherwise it's not secure, right? But we keep on forgetting that, hey, your apps are not just being used by so-called literate people, or the younger generations. You are forcing these apps to be used by these older people also, which are not very tech savvy, right? So are you saying that is security, does it mean that security is not for all? Does it mean that you are only building secure product only for a specific set of people? I assume that's not the case, right? So So talking about the solutions, right? It is not that people have not tried to solve the password problem. There are a lot of solutions available. I'm sure you guys know about all this, right? So OTP is one of the very good example to solve a password problem. Like you can log in into any website or any app just by your phone number. But then the problem with the phone number is you cannot create as many as you want. Uh, so for example, let's say you want to try out a website, right? And you just want to go into that website and see what this website provides you, what kind of service it provides. Now you have a fear that once your phone number is shared, uh, because it is just one or one or two, depending on what kind of mobile device you use, you can maximum have 2 to 3 sims, right? SIM cards. So so you always have a fear of your phone number getting shared by unwanted or unknown authorities or unknown peoples, uh, right? And this phone number becomes a very important piece of information nowadays because it is being now linked to bank accounts as well as many of your government identity cards. So you don't want to share it as much as you can, right? And then most of the time OTPs are being used as a MFA, multi-factor. They are not used as a single factor authentications. So from the enterprise perspective, phone numbers are not enough to build a user's profile, right? So let's say if a user logs in using a phone number, it is not enough because they will again ask the user to fill a form to build the user profile. So and moreover, the phone number is actually based on insecure channel, which is the same SMS channel, right? And you have, so when you are building an application, you don't have any idea about what this channel does. That channel is your telecom network, right? You have control over the internet. You can definitely provide securities like HTTPS, or you can have encryption and all that. But on that channel, you don't have control because that network is completely separate network. But OTP tries to solve the password problem, but it's not really helping people out, right? And then you have social login. Like you, on a click of a button, you can log in into any website, single sign on, right? But the problem with the social login is what if you try to buy a washing machine from Amazon, Facebook know about it in case there is a Facebook login over here. If you try to book a ticket on a flight ticket, so Facebook knows where are you traveling, right? So there is the issue of tracking and tracing. You don't have too much control of your data, right, with social logins. And of course it still works on the legacy password based authentication, so it is not fully passwordless solution. And then you have a couple of more passwordless solutions like email login. Yeah, and there are a couple of modes, right? But they all have the same kind of problem, right? So if you categorize it, how is the current system looks like is, it will look something like this. That you have an identity provider like Facebook who have control of everything. The identity provider issues your credential, identity provider holds your credentials or your data, and identity provider is the one who verifies. So let's say if a user tries to log in into any of the service provider or any website, the website user provides the details to the service provider. Service provider again has to go back to the identity provider to basically verify those credentials, right? So which means one person is having like in the current system there is too much trust on this one entity, right? And he's responsible for credential issuance, holding, and verifications. So and too much trusting too much on one entity is always a problem. We have learned it uh, this with like several times. Like centralized solutions is always a problem. And that's where we introduce a Hypersign to you. It's a identity management infrastructure built using public key cryptography and blockchain, which enables service providers to access authentic and verified data, and users to prove who this area they are, right? So 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 what is the difference here? Like if they are also trying to solve the password problem, like these two guys, then how we are different, right? So no matter what you do with the password, you cannot, you no matter if the password is there, you cannot solve the password problem that we have understood. Like no matter whether you implement multi-factor, whether you implement complex what is the rules regulations, the password problem are going to be there. So the only way to solve the password problem is eliminate the password from the ecosystem. And one way to eliminate the password is by using digital signature. Now, digital signatures are very old technology. We all know that cryptography has been there in the space for a very long time. But but why not? It is being used like, and of course we are when I'm talking, I'm using we are all using digital signature, right? Your website has a certificates that is a example of digital signature. So it's not like people are not using digital signature, but the question is why they are not using it for authentication, because digital signature is the answer. So if you think about it, right, why it is not being implemented so far, then the problem is with the keys, cryptographic keys management. So cryptographic keys are very complex to remember, right? And it is very difficult to manage. But with the evolution of wallets, now we have a way to manage keys, and we can create as many as we want, right? So this is the right time to basically look into the cryptographic or digital signature to use into this space, authentication and authorization space. So that's what Hypersign is doing. Hypersign making use of digital signature with blockchain. Now, why blockchain? We will talk about in shortly. But but yeah, in Crust, this is what it is. It does. So how it works, right? So Hypersign protocol works on a concept of issuance verification paradigm where you have three stakeholders: user, the issuer, the verifier. And the business is exactly the way it was earlier. Like even in the old system, you have users, identity provider, and the service provider who is the verifier. And here also is the same thing. There's no difference in that. The difference is Hypersign distribute the trust among the stakeholders. It distributes the responsibility. So identity provider is only responsible to issue a credential. User has ability to now hold the credential in his wallet. So now user can decide whether I want to keep it in the cloud or whether I want to keep it in my local device. So that is up to user. So we have given that responsibility to the user. Now, the service provider has the responsibility to verify a credential. So if a user goes and tries to log in into a website, the service provider will verify the credential presented by the user to be able to give him the access. Right. So this is where Hypersign is different. Uh, so like as a user flow, what you can do is you can go to any website, scan using a Hypersign, wallet app. You can scan your digital signature gets verified using a blockchain, and you are logged in. So this is how a user journey works. Just to you know quick thing to show that how the apps looks in its current state is something like this. You can download the app from App Store, and then you can create your profile. So once you enter your email address and all that, it generates cryptographic credentials which looks something like this. Behind this there is a digital signature in the metadata. Now the difference is, when this credential is given to you, none of your data is actually stored on the server, right? So it is just verified your data and given your data, and just verified the data and given back to you. So now you are holding your data in your phone. So now you know that your data is not anywhere and people cannot misuse it. That's the good thing about it. And whenever you want to access a website, you just scan the QR code, present your data to the website, because you trust on this website, you want to avail some service. So you trust on this website, you give the data directly to him. Directly, this is the peer-to-peer. You give the data directly to him. This guy will be able to verify and let you avail any service. We'll show you the demo after the presentation. But Hypersign is not just an authentication. We have visualized the Hypersign as a wallet where you can store your any kind of digital identity or identities that you have. So, for example, you can create a digital impression of your passport. You can create a digital impression of your voter ID card and keep it in your wallet. And if the verifying system, so for example, you take your mobile wallet where you have your voter ID card or a passport in your phone, and you take it to an airport where if the security guard also have the mobile app, Hypersign mobile app, he should be able to verify. You can present your credential directly to him, and he should be able to verify right from his phone. So it is not just an authentication product; it also offers a way to verify credentials, different kind of credentials. Yeah, so I think probably this is the questions that you all want to know, and this talk is about, right? So why blockchain? Uh, in order to understand this, right, we have to take a step back. We need to let's see how digital signature works, right? I'm sure some of you know also about it, but I'm just trying to recall, right? So let's say Alice wants to send a message to Bob, and Bob wants to verify whether the message was actually coming from Alice, right? So what Alice does is, along with the message, she created a signature, right? Digital signature using some algorithm. And in order to produce this digital signature, she uses her secret key, which is a private key, and produce the digital signature, right? And when she sent the message, she also sent her digital signature to the Bob. Now, the Bob can fetch the Alice's public key to be able to verify whether the signature is correct or not. If the signature is correct, he should be able to say that, okay, yes, this message is actually coming from Alice. Fair enough, right? No problem in this. But the question is, how does Bob gets Alice's public key? Right? Because in order to verify a digital signature, Bob needs to have a public key. So from where he will get a public key? That's the question, right? So imagine, to solve this problem, let's have a common database where whenever Alice, Alice generates her set of public key, or any party generates a set of public key, they can, publish their public key on a common database which everybody has access to, right? So Alice generates her keys there. She keeps the private key with herself and publishes the public key to the database, right? And whenever Bob's want to verify a digital signature of Alice, what he does is he fetches the Alice's public key and verifies the digital signature. So this thing solves our problem, right? That how he will get a public key. Now, but the next question is, who owns this database? Because the whole digital signature system fails if there is a change in the public key. So for example, if Bob try to fetches the Alice's public key, and if he end up fetching someone else's public key, then the whole system fails, right? The whole digital algorithm fails. Even doesn't matter what kind of algorithm that you have used, right? So it all depends on it all it all depends on the security of this database, right? So so what is the guarantee that the public key stored in the database is not tampered? And that's the question which is being asked by blockchain. So blockchain acts as a global registry of public key, and Hypersign uses blockchain just for that. So so now anybody if tries to anybody in the ecosystem if wants to verify someone, they will just have to fetch the public key from the blockchain. And because public key is a public information, you can securely put it on the blockchain. And that because of the blockchain's tamper proof nature, the public key which is kept there is correct, right? It's not tampered or it's not changed. And there is one more benefit of using blockchain here in this system is, um, when when a user presents his credential to the service provider, right? The service provider need not to connect with the identity provider. They can directly connect with the blockchain and verifies the credential. So when that happens, the identity provider need not to be online at that time. This gives a huge benefit. This there can be a lot of use cases which we can think of. Uh, uh, which we can think of where this independent verification can be useful. And that's what this is one of the feature of Hypersign, that it provides you to achieve independent verification, where service provider can independently verify. Remember how Facebook works, right? So when a user tries to log in via Facebook into a website, the website again connects with the Facebook, right? Now the Facebook system becomes a single point of, a failure, because lot of Facebook might have a lot of websites, uh, right, connected, and each of these websites might have a lot of users. So every time a request comes, all of the requests are redirected to the Facebook, and Facebook has to be live at that time. Whereas in this system, the website can verify the credentials presented by the user directly without having to connect with the Facebook, right? So that's the power of independent verification. And yeah, and the last question is why Hypersign, right? So we have identified these three components which are very unique in Hypersign. One is a two-way authentication. So whenever you get any link in your mobile app, right, of any website, right, you click on that website and click on that link and start using some service. But and the website asks you to authenticate yourself. But have you ever wondered that whether this website also is correct or not? Because a lot of times you might get a phishing page, right? So how would you verify? So as a layman, you don't know what like how to check the digital certificate, or because they all will have the same kind of UI. So what Hypersign can provide is a two-way authentication. Not just the user website verifies a user, you have ability to verify a website also. You will see it in the demo that how we are actually giving identity to the website also, not just the user. So this is what the two-way authentication. And I have also talked about this independent verification already, because the blockchain has the ability to provide you that, right? It's an infrastructure. So it provides you the way to verify independently someone. And and yes, that is the infrastructure for everybody, like identity provider and the service provider and the user. So so this is our mission, right? We want to eliminate data breaches, and one of the key thing which is there in the data breaches is the password. So that's the starting point. If we remove that, we probably get to reach there, right? So we want to eliminate the data breaches. We want to empower, to regain the control of your personal data, and we want to democratize security for enterprise at an affordable price point, right? So these are the three missions that we have with Hypersign. Yeah, I would like Vikram to show you a quick demo of what I have explained so far, and then we can take the questions. Vikram.
Hi guys, thank you. I'm going to share my screen. This is just a backup video that I had prepared in case my screen share doesn't work. So yeah, just 1 second. Share screen.
I think I can see your screen.
So let me know when you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Okay, Vishwas, can you see the mobile app which is being mirrored on the right hand side and the website where we want
Yes.
to log on the left hand side, right?
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
my
you can go ahead.
presentation is going to be around 3 points, which are the unique features of Hypersign specifically, because we built we figured that out and implemented. So those three features were independent verification, and the second one was two-way authentication, and the third one was like a infrastructure for everyone, which is more generalist. But this demo is more focused towards explaining how a simple user can come on board and access a website. Yeah. So before you can a user can use use our uh, solution to log in, the owner of the websites need to integrate Hypersign. So in this case, we have the Hypersign developer portal on the left hand side, which you see, where we have already integrated Hypersign protocol. And that is why you can see our login screen is converted into a QR code. So what we need to do first is, as a user, we need to download our mobile app. It's right now in an Android form. We will also be having iOS as well. So after downloading the mobile app, you need to create your profile. And how do you create your profile? You go to profile section and submit couple of information. Here we are taking very basic information because for this use case, an email ID is more than enough for login. Yeah. So you can see I have provided my personal information, like my name, and then I provided my email address. The top one that you see, the DID, which is basically the core of this whole solution, is auto generated when I created this wallet. So this wallet created a DID for me specifically for authentication purpose, and then I used my DID to register on to a service provider, or to register to an authentication provider. Here it is, in this case it's Hypermine company itself. So I provided my personal information and clicked on submit. I get an email. On the email you will get basically a button. If you click that, it redirects you to your wallet here, and in the wallet then you will see something like this: your website name and basically the credential name. This we call it schema name. So here you can see Hypersign authentication credential have been issued to me. When you go to the credential section, you see two parts. The top part represent who is issuing this credential to you. In our case, Hypersign application itself has issued to me. So even that application has its own DID. Now I will zoom in and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So here you can see at the top that there is an ID which is being generated for this Hypersign developer portal itself, and that is the basically the DID of the portal. And in this case, portal itself is the issuer, so we call it the issuer's credential. And this is like a public DID. If you go there and check it in our resolver, which on the blockchain network, you can see some of its public information. Next up, when I submitted my information to the issuer, like my personal information, the second half of this credential shows you that. You can see my name here, you can see my email address, and then you can see the DID that is associated to me here. So now this credential has two signatures basically. One is the issuer signature at the top part, and also the holder signature, like my signature, and which is both are associated with a public key, right? When you have a signature, you basically have a public key and private key. The private key is owned by the holder, or the privately, and the public key is registered against this DID on the blockchain network, like Vishwas had explained. Now what I'm going to do next is click on scan QR code, and I'm going to scan this. So what currently happening here is that first my wallet is verifying whether this developer portal is actually the developer portal that is where I'm supposed to log in, or it's a phishing website. And how did I do that? So the QR code had basically signature again of the developer portal, which was sent to my mobile device, and my mobile device, the wallet that I have, it connected to the blockchain, fetched the public key, and verified the signature of the website. And that's how I am able to say that, okay, yes, this DID is associated to this developer portal. So now we have logged in, and I'm going to show you. It's very basic at the moment because it is more for an educational purposes, and also for students who would like to try passwordless authentication using self-sovereign identity framework. They can come and try it. But consequently, we are also working parallelly on our production app, which will be available very soon. So I'm just giving this, telling this upfront, because if somebody will go and on this live portal and start registering their actual websites, it's not recommended. So yeah, now we have logged into the website. Here you can see that here is the information of the person who has logged in. So This DID is the same DID which is on my mobile wallet. So let's I think my mirroring has stopped, but it's okay. So all I am trying to say is here is that this is my oh yeah, we got it. So here you can see DID HSB362, and here also you can see DID HSB362. This explains that who is logged in into this developer portal. Now this is hyperlinked because it is going to take you to the blockchain network, and there is something called a resolver SDK that fetches the registry for this DID, and it will resolve into a nice looking JSON data. So here you can see against my DID, I was issued this DID here highlighted. Then you can see what all public keys I can register multiple public keys to the same DID, right? So that I can have, revocation process in case my public key is actually, let's say my mobile phone got hacked and my private key is stolen. So all the issuer has to do is revoke, the user has to ask the issuer to revoke this public key, and user will remove this key from here. Sorry, the issuer will remove this key from here, and basically a new keys would be added. Maybe the way I'm explaining there could be some mistake here, which Vishwas will clarify that. But the idea is that basic idea is that the public keys that are associated to a DID can be revoked. So in case we have issues with stolen private keys, though, so the security part can be maintained. Now moving on, you can also see here is that the signature, the type of the signature that was used, which in our case we use ED255. So we are using that as a standard, and the public key itself, right? There is much more information here that I would not like to go deeper into that. Maybe we can take that offline, and Vishwas would be more than happy to answer all your questions. Next up, the main thing, like how do you register an app, right? So you can go to this app section and you can create app. Just provide your app name and provide your endpoint URL, and then we will create an app. But there is one more configuration which is much more important. Let's say that you do not want to trust on our email servers. So then you can also provide your own email server. In that case, you will have to create your schema. And what does the schema means is that now you are becoming an issuer on your own. And for becoming an issuer of a credential, you need a schema. Remember in the phone, I had showed you that the schema name, Hypersign auth credential itself is a schema, right? So similarly, your app will also have your own schema. But important point to be seen here is that, as I was explaining, when you create an app, we also generate the DID for the app. And unlike two existing OAuth 2.0 based implementations, we do not have app ID. We actually have a credential for your application. And this is still, we are testing this flow, and soon we will get to know to a point where how efficient this can be or it is not efficient. So that is still in the research. But yeah, so our idea is that to give as good security as possible. So this credential now can be verified by different parties. So whenever somebody is logging in, I can verify this demo app's credential before logging in. So this will prove that the app that I am logging in is actually the app. So overall, that's all there. There is a free subscription here for, as I told you, this is a student version of it. So we are not charging anyone any money. You can come and subscribe. There is no, actual blockchain tokens required to do. So you don't need to worry about that. It's all handled in the backend. And for now, because until we have, the actual, based on the different implementation, we will, maybe we will allow developers to pay with tokens. But for now, it is all in the backend. And we are paying gas fee and stuff like that. So yeah, so you can subscribe and you can get up to 3 applications for free and 1500 auth requests. So that's it. That's all this developer portal is about. And thank you. And over to Miguel and Vishwas. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Vikram, for that great presentation about Hypersign. Now we have some questions from the attendees here. We're gonna go first with the one from Michael Hates that he's asking uh, about the if he can use it. Here's the question. You can see it.
Yeah, I am a crypto YouTuber and content creator, especially online courses. It is possible to use Hypersign for student registration. Absolutely, yeah. That's the first thing, right? Like for sure, I can help you integrate our SDK. Even in the test form, we can help you with that. It actually doesn't need blockchain integrated to do a passwordless authentication, right? We all know that. So even in this current form, it can be used. The SDK is very seamless to use. If you have, like, let's say, Node.js based application, it is very easy. If you have Java, we can customize that APIs for you, and of course, you can have users logging in, your students logging in and doing registration.
Yeah, he another question is about the fees, the cost or fees for that.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
question, Michael. Michael. So yeah. So now you have asked me this question. It's a bit tricky because in the current state, it is free of cost. But then no, we are not selling. As I told you, this is a test version. But the actual version, if for example we are working with one enterprise and we are implementing it internally for them, that is not for free. So our future goal is to use our HID tokens to create DIDs on whatever network we are. It doesn't matter. Like as a developer, you will have option to choose which network you want to. Like, let's say you trust on Binance chain because it is hyped up and you have a lot of coins. So you can just choose our DID infrastructure on Binance chain, but you still need to pay with our HID tokens to create the DID. So yeah, the long term is that, like, use our tokens to pay, but the short term is to solve the problem and get as many ecosystem holders involved. And I don't want to bring in a complexity of HID tokens at this point. I want to solve problem and I want to get customers, so it's very straightforward. But in the end, internally, it actually uses tokens to create DID. Yes. So
so we
yes
have
and no.
a great. Thank you for that answer. Now we have another one from Noah Abuashis. I think I pronounced it right. So which network does this get writing to?
Yeah, I do not want to open this right away because that is planned for our launch post our
Yeah.
token sale. And but what I can tell you is that we are partnering with all the major layer one solution, and we are going to launch our DID registry in all of them. And you will have option in future to choose which network you want to. So we are not enforcing anyone to go on one network. So technically, we will be on two or three or four of those network, and yeah, you need to choose which one you want to. But you need to pay with the gas fee of that network. Plus, you need to have some of our tokens in order to create the DID.
Great. We have another one from Sanket Naiha. He's saying, how can we use these for login in from mobile browsers as well as for any mobile applications?
Yeah, good question, Sanket. It is very seamless. Yeah, the screen that I showed you, which had the QR code. If you open that screen in the mobile app, it will hide the QR code, and instead of that, it will create a button. So when you click on that button, it will hyperlink internally in your mobile app itself to our wallet, and it will open your credential page automatically. And then you will start seeing that round loader button, which means it is authenticating, trying to authenticate. And once you are authenticated, it will roll basically load the mobile app. So then if you open the it is just like how a Facebook login in mobile works. Yeah, very short, to put it very short. There is one
Now,
more interesting question actually Michael had asked. If you don't mind me putting that after the student website. Yes, so I like this question. Like, will there be an easy integration for people like me with a WordPress website? And I want to emphasize on this WordPress and Shopify and all this, because this is where the actual problem is. Like, I think 30 to 40% of the web is PHP and WordPress. So this is what I mean. I've been building web application. I know how bad could be the security, and to implement passwordless authentication, it is very tricky in those framework. Like Shopify is a good example. So we definitely plan to to release our WordPress and Shopify SDKs as soon as possible. The team is currently small, but with after our token sale, we will have a lot of bandwidth, and then we will be hiring and implementing this. So as I told you, that is why I wanted to pick this question, because the problem is there. I have been a developer of, I've used WordPress for my clients, and I've used Shopify for my clients, Laravel applications. So these are my first target, and not enterprise, because enterprise can afford to pay good authentication. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
definitely WordPress.
so we can take these. Another question is from Michael too. Is about if it's possible in the future to only provide the QR code to students after they paid for the online course.
Will it be possible in future to can you just show
Yeah,
me the thank you. Will it be
yeah.
possible in future to only provide the QR code to the students after they paid for the online course? Yeah, so you need to build the flow, right? Like it is actually very simple. You become an issuer. You have basically mm, your own simply put, it is, yes, it is possible, but I'm just trying to explain. So I was showing you that in our demo, we had something called schema. So in this case, you will own your own schema, and we will show you a portal where everyone is registering. And once you click okay, 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 then only the credentials are being sent to the user. And the good point here is that after that it gets deleted out of your system. So the I mean, we want to enforce this, that no one holds a lot of credential of users on one single database or whatever at one centralized place. So long story short, yes, you can do that. Basically, you will have an admin panel where you can verify whether the student have paid or not after the registration. Once they have paid, you can send them the credential. That's it.
I'm going to add another one that is from Michael. So he's the last one, I think. After, will
No,
students need to have tokens in their app to use the registration services to access on the website?
no, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
you can
no,
answer
no.
that one.
Yeah. So if you, yeah, good question, Michael. You know why? Because I saw some of our competitors, they are doing that. I mean, we are not yet competitor to them. We are still just launching, but yeah, they are doing that, and it's a big hassle. I don't want student to pay for that. The payment has to be done by the enterprise or the application developer who would integrate our solution. So, very simple put, the company who would integrate Hypersign, they would pay on behalf of their users.
I have
But
another one from, yeah.
we will have a different way to monetize our on the holder side, which is basically your students or user like you and me. There we are planning to roll out some solution even to monetize their data. That is a separate, and this is what has to be explained to people, that no one can own your data and then sell it without telling you. So this is the overall concept behind it, right? The passwordless authentication and all these are features, but what is the main goal behind doing self-sovereign identity network is giving the control of data back to people. And it is you can ask anyone in the ecosystem who are part of SSI. This is the actual goal where everyone wants to be there, but to get there, we need to solve many small business problems, and WordPress and Shopify and even enterprise login are just part of that.
Yeah, can you answer this one about from Guraf? He's saying which blockchain technology you're working.
Yeah, Gaurav, I can answer that. So, I partnered. You have to keep observing whom all we are partnering with. So, starting with, we partnered with Eternity, we partnered with Elrond. More partnerships are coming. So, all these have different smart contract languages, man. If I tell you one, then it is not right. And I don't want to open that to public at this point until our infrastructure is live. But solidity is like available, and most of the blockchain networks support that. So that I can tell because that's not secret. But apart from that, we also have our own unique language, which I mean, not our language. Like somebody is helping us, and it's a big company. So probably we will launch it together, and that's when you will get to know.
Yeah, we have another one from Parth Mehta, I think is the name.
Yes,
He's
part.
asking about. I said if people lost, then you have to contact issuer. I think it's just the continuation of another question.
Yeah,
So
part actually, two parts of your question. Uh, the public key defines the security of the data, and also if the data is lost, then you need to do something, right? If your credential is lost, and you are right, you need to ask your issuer to again, reissue your credential. That's what this continuation is correct.
I have another one from Noah.
Yeah.
Is when do you expect to go live?
Yeah, you can go to our website and you can see the uh, roadmap, and you can understand that. Probably, so there are versions, right? That is why I told you that I'm not focused on in one direction. It is like we need to
Yeah,
solve the problem first. So based on the customers, my customers currently are in the enterprise side. I'm solving them the problem for them. So the product is planned like that. Like now we are launching our ERC20 tokens, so it is important for us to implement the network infrastructure, like the registry
yeah.
on the network. So if you go to our website and if you look at the launch phases, it starts from 0.5 and then it goes on and on. So that's how it will be.
Another one from Michael. If there's any payment solution plan to enable access only after student pay. I don't know if you can
Good
answer
question.
that one.
Only after student paid. Payment
Yeah.
solution is Hypersign identity token. Michael, you integrate, you buy my token, and the student doesn't need to pay. You take money from student in some form. You just, for
Yeah,
our
just,
infrastructure, you pay in HID token. So
yeah. So
our developers will help you integrate in whichever country you are, and they will help you integrate the wallet. I mean, depends on which bank you like and where you are existing. Like in India, we can integrate UPI payment, right, and for students. But that is very specific to your use case, student registration
yeah.
platform, and the protocol has nothing to do with that.
So I have another one from Sanket. I think we're gonna have to take the last ones because we're close to the end of the event. So we have this one from Sanket. Let me see if you see it. Okay, so this service is dependent on your mobile application for verification.
We can't
But
directly log in using desktop only by storing credentials on desktop, or
that's
rather
how the
hard.
hardware drive.
Good question, Sanket. No, I mean, yes and no both. We want to enforce mobile wallet login, but mobile based login, because mobile gives you two more factors: your fingerprint or your biometric, like your biometric and your facial. That adds on it to it. But let's say that you are my client and you don't want this, but you want to still use the protocol. Then please go ahead. Like I can integrate to a mobile wallet solution or a web wallet solution, and it will web wallet is definitely coming, but we don't want to enforce that. That is why we are not launching that, and we will try to see if the mobile wallet works, then it's all good. Otherwise we will definitely provide web wallet as well, or your, in fact, even we are partnering also with some hardware companies, and soon you will get to know that. And probably with that we might go to hardware based authentication. We can say that we are hardware compatible.
Yeah, so we have another one from Gaurav, the Pola, I think.
Gaurav, yes.
Uh,
How the blockchain channel? Can you please show it again? It just came
yeah,
and went.
sorry. Yeah,
How
just
the
click it again.
blockchain channel will store the keys in your server? How the blockchain channel will store the keys in your server? Blockchain channel. Our server doesn't store the key. Mm, the key is with the there are two parts of the key, right? Public key and the private key. The private key will be with you, and your public key will be on the registry which exists on the blockchain network. So I hope I answered your question. We do not store your key. You hold your key because you own your data. That is the main point here.
Yeah, you hold up.
Your
Yeah.
public key is
All right.
registered on blockchain and not on our
Okay.
server.
So we have another one from Michael. Is about how can it's about WordPress. Let me see.
Yeah. Hi,
How can I
Michael.
contact you to help? I'm a WordPress
Definitely. I
integration.
mean, you can contact me. I will help you. Just let
Yeah.
us launch it, and you can see the launch date is not very far. The first version is in May or June. You can even try now if you have a developer to integrate with our SDK. But if not, I can provide help. And sure, as soon as the first version is launched, then we will start integrating. And if you have a WordPress website, definitely, and you want to become our customer, then more than happy that we start with you. Please be
Okay.
in touch, join our Telegram channel, and we will keep you posted.
I think that was the last questions we're going to take because we're getting close to end the event. I'm going to thank you, the Hypermind team, for being with me on Blockqode and give this presentation to everyone, and they can know more about your product. I'm glad to have you again. I have to say it because your product is great, and having all those news about you getting new partnerships and like Elron and all these other ones that are getting excited with what you are working on. I'm happy for that. Um, you have my stage to talk again about any things that you have in the future, and thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Just one last note. Please do go to our website. That's hypersign.id. Please follow us on Twitter, Hypersign Chain. Follow us on Telegram. We're launching our token very soon. Please do join. Try to be part of the token sale, participate, support, and protect your data.
Yeah, we're gonna share that information. We're gonna share that information on the LinkedIn page, and we're going to do it on Facebook too, so people can be on track to all the things that you're going to be doing. So,
actually,
thank
Miguel,
you
there is
again.
one last question from Roman again.
Yeah. Oh, you want to
Um,
take it? Yeah, take it.
yeah. I just want to clarify that, like, why people some with payment systems and no, not that the
That's not that
payment.
one. It's about the e-commerce. Is
Yeah,
Roman the one they
e-commerce.
want to take?
Yeah.
Okay. The
So
one about e-commerce.
yeah, so he is
Okay.
saying, like, can we use your Hypersign for e-commerce products, and then it's connected with like Amazon and eBay, etc. Right? So
Yeah.
so what I want to clarify here is that in order for our solution to be available on Amazon and eBay's login, that means Amazon and eBay partnered with us. It is on that level. So directly we cannot do anything on their login screen. That is like that will be a bad security flaw, and it's not good that we can spoof their login screen and somehow provide you login solution there. That's not a good idea.
Exactly.
So yes, but on e-commerce product, many products are built on top of, let's say, Shopify. So when we launch our Shopify plugin or a WordPress plugin, all these customers can use the Shopify and WordPress plugin to log in and to create their registration and login flow. Yeah, with payment system and yeah, balances involved, I have to see that, like, it depends, man. I want to keep the payment and your id different, two different things. There is one also clash of idea with the Ethereum guys. I have learned a lot from their implementation, but from the ideas angle, every Ethereum key is actually a DID. There are many smart contracts like that. Imagine like this: you have millions of dollars in Ether, right, on your public key, and then you are logging into an SSI based government portal with the same key, government would immediately get to know how much money you have. And I mean, it's just an example. Privacy is not there with your payment money and your identity, right? So it is two different things. So the keys that are being used to manage your account, like your Ethereum or any other blockchain payment account, should not be used for authentication, because authentication has money is very important and it has to be kept very safe, and it should not be, it should be as private as possible. So no, I think that is where class of interest, but I would like to talk to you personally later and see, like, maybe you are thinking in some other direction. That's all. Thank you, Miguel.
Great. Thank you again.
Thank you, Miguel.
Yeah, we're going to be talking soon of the new things, okay?
One last thing, Miguel, that POE project is also very cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool project.
Thank you. I appreciate the feedback, and like I said again, I hope to see you with all the things that you're doing right now, like in a big level. So I appreciate that you're here with me right now. Okay, so see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Miguel. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.